Thanks for tuning in to the Prime Nostalgia, the podcast dedicated to entertainment from childhood. That's 80s, 90s, the latest 2000s. Cause Prime know it all, and Leeboy be wild, and he's from all that. Dropping gems for you to find, so that's orange, the lightest line. Prime time is all the time. We talking about the classics, and there's so many. That's Leeboy TV and PRIME. Ow.
What's going on, everybody? It's me, it's the PRIME. Coming back with another episode of the PNP. I'm here with my co-host, Leeboy.
Hey, Leeboy in the building. Oh, we about to light him up today. I know, I'm corny. What can I say, man? I'm just corny, especially at the top of the show. Got to get all the corniness out early, you know?
Today's topic, right? Today's topic is the 20th. Yes, you heard that right. The 20th anniversary of Spider-Man 2002. You know, he's just minding his business, trying to take pictures of people. They go to this field trip. By the way, Harry is played by James Franco, which is wild to think about.
Right, that he's just like a secondary character that's kind of like, yeah.
Him and Kristen Dunst. Kristen Dunst she's whatever in this, you know, MJ. Yes, but yeah, no, we got some scenes. He's taking a picture. They talk about the spider, got all this stuff. The spider bites him. We all know what happens with the spider bite. And he gets bit. And then, you know, he goes home and now he's like different. Before he was getting picked on and all this. Now he's different. You know, he's looking in the mirror, he's checking himself out, you know. Did you catch that one joke that they had in there?
What's that?
He was like, his Aunt May was like, "Oh, how are you doing?" He was like, "Oh."
And then he gets it. Well, and then one of the telltale signs is when he gets into that fight at school, right? And then I feel like they have that scene in most of them, right? Where he like first confronts a bully or something. Does that happen in multiple Spider-Mans?
Yes, it does, but that is his bully. Like that's his school bully. So you know, Flash is trying to beat him up.
He's looking at his hand and stuff. He's moving in slow-mo, and it's always great. I mean, they have something similar that happened in the Spider-Verse as well, when he first meets Gwen. So I think that was there's so many things that were set up in this first. Now, I was gonna say this first movie. Is this the first Spider-Man movie?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I mean they had Spider-Man in movies, I believe, in like the 70s or 80s. I was trying to look it up.
Oh, do you mean like the first Spider-Man movie, period? No.
Yeah, okay.
And I've seen them, they're not good. But hey, whatever.
So this is like the real representation of Spider-Man in a film. Like we've seen him plenty of times in cartoons and obviously comics and stuff like that. But like this really brought it to life. And I think that's why, you know, people look at it as, you know, the original or the best, or, you know, all those type of things. And then obviously Tobey, I think he's just, he was great. But yeah, moving forward to what you were saying though.
Well, I'm gonna just say this is one of the first, like, there were a lot of comic book movies made, but they weren't like, basically it was just like the character. They didn't care about no storylines of whoever. So like currently I'm watching for the first time the Superman movies. Those movies are like half comic stuff and then half of our story. And other character like Blade, for example, Blade was just the character and then they just made a story up. So some movies do it, some movies don't do it, and Spider-Man was one of the first ones to like be like, we're gonna try to stay on course to the comics as much as possible. And I like that. So
yeah, I like that approach too, because you know, when you find out the movies are just making up stuff, and it's like, no, it's much better when it's based on something that previously happened. It brings it a lot more substance, in my opinion. So I like when Marvel does that, and they mostly do that, right? There's always a comic book usually to support the story. So I always appreciate that because it gives it just an extra level of intensity and just credibility, an extra level. I would say credibility for sure.
Yes, like I have no problem with people having their own ideas with filmmaking, but it's like when they are a fan of the comic book and they like take stuff from it, I think it's just better for like people. I don't know, it's just like icing on top when the person that's directing the movie also is a big fan of the product. We get this tray scene. Uh if you know what scene I'm talking about, the tray gets knocked over. He catches everything with one hand on the tray and catches Mary Jane. Uh just just take an estimate of how long you think how many takes you think it took.
Like you really was catching stuff on that train? What do you?
Yes, that was not CGI.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna say that took a half a day of shooting. I don't know.
156 takes.
156 attempts.
Yes, to get it right, and I would say they got it right. Because to catch everything in this neat stack, to catch her and then to not break character all at one, that's actually pretty neat. But 156 times, that's a lot. That's a lot of tape being wasted, honestly.
Yeah, that's a half a day, right? That might be a full day, actually.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah,
A full day of shooting. You know, they had to take lunch in between that, take breaks, recoach them, and
they
like,
was already in the cafeteria, so hey,
come on, Toby.
yeah,
You don't have to get this. This the budget right here, bro. You better catch these damn plates and all this food.
yeah. But
And then,
uh,
I mean, we could talk about MJ, Mary Jane, the casting of her and Kristen
bland,
Dunst at the time. She was what?
bland,
What did she do before this?
bland. Oh, what Kristen Dunst do? I don't know.
Oh, okay, so
I
this
don't
was.
know what she did before and or after this.
I definitely don't know what she did after this. You didn't appreciate her skills in this one.
I don't know if I don't know if you watched you probably didn't watch Power Rangers like I do, but she has the Kimberly syndrome, meaning every time like a paper fall off the ground, she's calling Spider-Man. It's like, bro, every time something happens, it's like, oh my god, and then Spider-Man has to come and save her. It's like, bro, it's like Lois Lane territory. It's like, how do you just so happen to be everywhere that the villain is getting beat up and
Yeah,
thrown
the
like
thing is, just go home. Just go home. If all this stuff was happening to me, I'd just be at the house. I'm like, I'm not doing this no more. In fact, I'm moving out of New York City. This is crazy.
I don't know how you feel. I feel like my MVP in this movie is Willem Dafoe.
Will
He's the
Defoe.
Goblin. He talks to himself as the Goblin in this, and it's very special. It's a lot to do, and it's great acting. Uh, I thought he was terrifying in that movie, and then he brought it up a level in Far From Home. So
No, no, I think yeah, as far as the acting chopped and as far as the acting performance, he definitely brought the movie to the next level. I kind of expressed that I love Tobey Maguire in it, but he's just kind of being himself. He's just being very natural. Where William Dafoe, he's definitely he is the definition of a method actor, and he definitely displays that in this film, where he's really playing two different characters, maybe three. At least two. But
because he
and because
sorry,
he's concealing it. I mean, he's talking to himself as he's Green Goblin, and then he's also just the regular himself as well, just with his family. So it's kind of a tribe personality split. But yeah, he definitely killed it. And you already know, I always love the villains. So if the movies will only take you as far as the villains will take you, and he took it to the moon.
yeah. Also, fun fact is when he was Norman Osborn, like the regular person, he had in prosthetics
Mm.
because his teeth was all straight and normal. And then when he was Green Goblin, he had his real teeth, which it's kind of messed up that his real teeth was messed up. So they say
With the villain version.
you gonna
You
use
got
your real,
the perfect teeth for a villain right there, all jacked up and
yeah.
crooked and out of order. We love that.
Well, yeah, when he was Norman, he was a regular. But but yeah, okay. So, anyways, we are so headed just talking. I like to just talk about this movie because I really like this movie. But we're gonna go ahead a little bit. You got Uncle Ben. Uncle Ben talking to this man, giving this man life lessons, and I mean, he's like I forgot where he was trying to go. He was trying to go somewhere, and Uncle Ben trying to talk to him. He's like, "Yeah, all right, you know." And then Uncle Ben told him, "With great power comes great responsibility."
Responsibility.
And then, pow! Hey, he's down, right? He's down. Uncle Ben is down. Uncle Ben is down, and he's you know, he's dying. All right, he's dead, and
And I kind of asked earlier, yeah, if this was the first film because it felt so familiar, that storyline, right? It felt, and I don't know if it's just because we've seen it in all the Spider-Mans or it just became a household story. But it's just a great like fable, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just an American tale at this point.
now I'll be honest with you. Every single Batman movie, I don't need to watch his parents die. Like it's too many Batman movies where his parents die, and I don't need that every single time. So I'm glad at least in Far From Home they waited to the third movie to kill somebody off. But it's just a lot sometimes.
Is yeah, it's just it's an American classic now. And is it attributed to this movie, the 2002
Oh,
Spider-Man?
that
Was that so it wasn't as big of like an American folklore in the
and the comic,
comics?
no,
Yeah.
it was said, but it wasn't like it was just like okay, this is the line. But now when this movie said it, they say it like every movie after then.
Right.
And now when they said it in the way that they said it in Far From Home, when they announced that this was happening, I thought it was gonna say it'd be funny, like with great power comes great responsibility. But the way that they said it in Far From Home, it was like a tear jerking scene. So I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I
Uh,
like the way they're always it feels it doesn't feel recycled. I was going to say the way they always recycle it, but it doesn't feel they kind of switch it up each and every time, but it still brings you that nostalgic factor that you get from the first 2002 movie. So I love that and it's a great message overall. So
yes. But hey, Peter is trying to figure out what he wants to do with his new abilities. He's trying to test them out. He goes on top of a building, tries to fly, tries to swing his webs, trying to do all that. And then, honestly, this is not my favorite scene, but it's like such a good scene in my opinion. But yeah, um, he goes to this wrestling match. Octavia Spencer's at the door randomly. He goes in. Bruce Campbell. I don't know if you know Bruce Campbell, but he's there. And Bruce Campbell, by the way, is in every movie. Every Spider-Man movie has a different guy. But Bruce Campbell's there, and he's like, "What is your name?" He's like, "Oh, I'm the Spider-Ling or something." He was like, "All right, you're Spider-Man." So Spider-Man going up against Bonesaw. Bonesaw is ready. That's my line, but Bonesaw is played by Macho Man Randy Savage, and first of all, you can tell this man is on the roids. You can tell.
oh yeah, his skin looks so tight, bro.
You can tell he's on the roids. But can you guess how old he is here?
Oh my goodness. I know he's probably older than he looked because he looked about, I would say, being generous, about 55, but I'm sure he must have been 65,
No,
70.
he wasn't 55. I would say he was about 48, 49,
Oh,
maybe
okay.
50.
Okay.
Yes.
He looked old to me. I think it's
Yeah.
all that damn sun tanning and tanning beds and
Yeah.
steroids and
Yeah.
probably a whole lot. He looked old. I ain't gonna lie.
Like at this point, was he still wrestling? He was barely still wrestling. He was still in shape enough to look like he can be a wrestler. Like this is the age where he was like fake, like he was like a movie wrestler. Like every time a TV show needed a person that looked like a wrestler, that was him. Even though he just so happened to used to be a real wrestler. But I just like his lines. Like every line he got, I feel like was memorable. He got the boom saw, and he got the hey freak show. You know this line? You know this line?
Yeah.
You're going nowhere. I got you for 3 minutes. 3 minutes of playtime. It's that whole thing, man. The whole thing.
I think Freak Show, just calling somebody Freak Show is hilarious to me, but
the way he says it too, because Peter tries to escape out the cage. He's like, "You're going nowhere." That's the best line, man. That honestly, that was my ringtone, not my ringtone, my text message. My text. Somebody text me, he'd be like, "I got you for 3 minutes, three late time." Like the fingers when he does it and everything is just like, right, come on, man. But no, I was
I used to be a big fan of actually Macho Man Randy Savage. So snap into a Slim Jim, all that was a huge fan.
So we got the Macho Man part out the way. Obviously, Macho Man can't get him because Bonesaw can't get him because he's Spider-Man, so he's jumping all over the place. He gets some, he's wins the money, but he doesn't get the money. The promoter fakes him out, and he's like, "I missed the part, but that's my problem," which comes back later, which is another good line when the guy robs him, and he was like, "Why didn't you stop him?" He was like, "Oh, that's not my problem."
Right.
I missed the part where that's my problem, which is honestly, I send that Jeff a lot to like stuff that like just stuff that I don't care
Yeah,
about.
that's a good comeback. Yeah,
I missed the part where that's
missed
my
that.
problem. Yes.
But then it's ironic because that is the opposite of the the attitude of Spider-Man as he takes on the suit and everything, and then shortly after that he finds out about his uncle, right? So it's like very ironic that takes place right after, and it's like, see, it's a little bit of karma. And
same guy, by the way.
Right, same guy that he let go. So had he stopped him, it could have potentially stopped his uncle. Well, for sure would have stopped his uncle from passing away as well.
Yes. So he basically hunted this guy down and killed him, basically. Here we go. Green Goblin and the Spider-Man. Green Goblin's probably one of his biggest. Green Goblin and Doc Ock, one of his biggest. But they go head to head. And Willem Dafoe is just menacing. He got all his knives and stuff. He's stabbing Spider-Man and stuff. They're supposed to have a party. So like he don't know it's him. He don't know that it's him. And they fight each other. And then like they're at this party like 5 minutes later. Like nothing happened. And then Norman Osborn, he sees that Peter has like a big gash in his arm. And he was like, huh. Well, I gotta go because apparently I know what Spider-Man is. So he goes, and then Spider-Man Peter's just like, that's weird. And so they have their little thing. That was a nice scene though, like him calculating that's Peter, which they show that Norman Osborn is smart. Another good line. I don't know if you I'm not in the community as big as other people are, but he's like, I'm something of a scientist myself. And he actually says that line in the new Spider-Man. But look, we came to see some stuff blow up. We came to see fights. We came to see action. And Green, I just want to say, this man is a menace, though. He really, like...
he's a terrorist, yeah. He's terrorizing the whole city.
Aunt May was in the house, and he called Peter. He was like, kaboom, basically. That's what he said. And then the house blew up.
Some real terrorist type stuff.
Yeah, I was like, bro, come on, man. You really gonna... It's like 80. Let her live for the last few years. But yes. So yeah, they fight. They get into a big smoz. We fighting. He's trying to get into his head while they're fighting. Like you got one option. You can either, help or whatever the case is. Basically, Green Goblin trying to tell him with great power, the opposite of with great powers come great responsibility. Like you can do whatever you want, pretty much, just as whose side you're on. They fight, and then how do you feel about the way he gets killed? I'm gonna be honest with you. How do you feel about it?
Wait, Goblin gets killed. He's trying to get. Well, obviously he's always trying to get Spider-Man, but he enacts his little board or whatever, and then Spider-Man jumps out the way. And
Mhm.
um, I think I will say I think that's just a little bit lazy on the writing, because you mean you don't have control of the board that's coming right at you. You didn't think that maybe he would get out the way. You're going to risk your whole life. You know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't calculate that that was a potential risk to having the board flying right at you. You wouldn't jump out. Wait, you wouldn't jump out the way either, right? You
But
know what I'm saying?
he
Like, when
couldn't
you
because
see Spider-Man jump out, I'm moving too. Like,
he was like attached to the wall, so he couldn't necessarily like move.
okay.
He had him like stuck. So I think what he was trying to do is he was just gonna kill them both as long as Spider Man was dead.
Mhm.
But he got he didn't like get like stabbed in the chest or in the neck. He got stabbed in the groin, and I'm like, that's a that, you can die with like
Yeah, you're supposed to be
painful
able
way.
to. I mean, you're the goblin, man. You're supposed to be able to bounce back from that.
That's a painful way to die.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, die from a groin shot. Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
But that thing ain't got no brakes. Like, you don't got no brake button or
And
reverse,
first of all,
reverse, reverse.
this
Come
is
on, bro.
before this is before we even knew how to work technology, bro. He probably didn't even know how to.
Bro, you gotta bite that thing up, bro. I don't know. That just seems like a huge risk. I know he, hey, Spider-Man, he's willing to do whatever to take the Spidey out, but you right in the line of fire, sir.
That is true. And I'm gonna like the way that it's angled. You wasn't gonna do nothing but what get his leg, get his back. Like if it hit you in the ground, it's gonna hit him in the back. So it's like you're supposed to aim for the head or the neck if you want to
Right,
kill
right,
him. But
right.
hey, it's your plan, dog. It's your plan. We get some scenes, obviously we get the Mary Jane kiss scene, which is stupid, but I think it's stupid. Like I
But
know it's iconic.
yeah, I was gonna say, but iconic, yeah.
Yeah, it's iconic, but it's if you just really go on unmask only the lips, like you don't want to see
That's
what he's
real
like.
stupid. That's real stupid.
I would have been like, man, get your
And
something.
yeah, and he just gonna trust that she gonna stop right there too. Like, he should have been holding it. Like, nope, this is it.
And
You can't,
then
he gonna let her take control. Like, you supposed to be incognito, bro. You gonna let her roll down your mask? Come on.
it's only a mask. Like it could have. It's raining. What if it just would have fell off? Like just like stuff like that. I'm like, all right, I don't get. But all right, cool. Uh, he don't tell her necessarily, and they just kind of just they
But
gotta
the
just watch.
ladies, I mean, the ladies love that scene. Like you said, it's actually more than iconic. It's like a dream for women. Like,
I
at
mean,
that time, they're like, oh, it's just so cute and romantic. It's just so corny and cheesy, really. But they
every
definitely
movie.
made a moment of it. And them in that pose was everywhere. Literally everywhere. What was it? Not the cover to like subsequent versions of the movie? I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
different versions, but it's like I understand it's the iconic Spider-Man pose because he does it in the comics a lot because he likes to hang upside down because obviously
Right.
Spider-Man. But the way that they did it, it's like it's just usually they just do it. He just comes down, they do it. And here it's raining. She's like Spider-Man, and he's so like basically it's like I said, Kimberly syndrome, where she just needs help every day, every minute, every second. She needs help. It's like you got to put a video camera just on her because she's always in danger. And yeah, I mean,
Yeah, and my issue with the way she's like in love with Spider-Man is she's also in love with Peter Parker. So he I wish that Spider-Man would have took more control in that scene where he's kind of kissing her versus the other way, because it just, to me, it doesn't make sense that she's so invested in her relationship with Spider-Man, but then she's also invested in her relationship with Peter Parker almost equally. And I wish that I don't know. I don't know if it's like that in the other ones.
all right, people, we are back from the commercial break. It's Leeboy TV. Oh my God. If you guys are listening, he just put on a web shooter look like, oh, what is that?
I got two of them, bro.
He,
Wow, wow,
he
wow,
has a
wow.
web
I got
shooter.
two kids. Ah.
He has
um,
web shooters, people.
so
Web
yeah, this
shooters.
is actually for the ride at Disneyland. It's interactive with the Spider-Man ride out there in Marvel Land. So you could shoot. I think you shoot double webs if you have that on. So we
Right,
need all the upgrades we can get when it
right.
comes to Spider-Man and all that. So yeah, anything Disneyland. So I'm all over it. They actually just had, I didn't bring this, which is funny. I actually did not bring this over here for the podcast. Nicole just has it right here on my desk for whatever reason. Probably because the kids were
No,
throwing it
she
at each
seen you
other.
putting on that Spider-Man shirt. She said, "Oh, I think we talk about Spider-Man today." I don't know,
Yeah. So shout out to the kids. So
but well, look, man. I don't know how you feel about scores and everything. I'm a big fan of scores, and especially if they're done right. And this score is one of a kind. Danny Elfman is he's in his bag in this, and it's one of the best scores ever, in my opinion. But definitely a great score, especially how they use it. Um, is fantastic.
no, I was saying that I don't remember it specifically. Thank you for reminding me, bringing that back up. But overall, yeah, this movie is just, the 2002 version is just high class in so many different ways, and with the score being part of that, it just reminds you of a huge, big budget blockbuster film all around. So I think that definitely is part of it, for sure, and it really set the tone for Spider-Man's. And I think, another way that big budget blockbuster feel was transferred into other projects was, I think, was this the first movie or like the motivation for the video game? Because I remember the Spider-Man video game
Yeah, he's
was a
fantastic.
phenomenon, and I didn't even care too much about Spider-Man, or I liked the movie or whatever, but I think the video game took it to the next level. I think this is on PlayStation 2.
Yeah, they had the video game for Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2. I'm not sure about 3, but I know Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2 were both video games. You can play through storyline and all that. And something else that you said, it's just like there's a lot of stuff. They were some of the first to do a few things, but I think if I'm not mistaken, this is one of the first to like have the score be the soundtrack. It's like most of the soundtrack is, I don't think it's like real songs, it's just the score. And I kind of like that. Like, even though I don't care when songs have, the popular songs as a soundtrack, but this one I like when they have a score, like Black Panther. That score is crazy, and they mix it well with songs. So
That's one of the best scores. Yeah, I will put that one up there pretty high. One of the best scores ever for sure. I love that. I mean, it just gets you pumped. It just gets you ready to. It feels like you in the damn war. When you're watching Black Panther, but it's almost the same thing for Spider-Man and most of the good Marvel films and Disney films. I know this one isn't Disney, but it gives you that, that Star Wars feel. Star Wars is definitely one of those.
we're gonna head into this nostalgia star. We're gonna quickly go past and see what we got. We got cast, we got fandom, we got plot, we got production, we got longevity. Let's start with cast. What you going with?
I mean, cast. I would say William Dafoe definitely brings it up a notch, and then you got people like James Franco, Kirsten Dunst supporting. I'll go ahead and give it an A minus.
A minus. Okay.
Yeah, I
See,
mean, Tobey Maguire. I mean, for the time, I think it would have been, middle of the road, but obviously William Dafoe is a legend already at the time. Tobey was getting there, but I don't know that he was. This movie is what put him over the top. So I think going into it, it would have been a B, but turned out like to what they ended up becoming, including James Franco. I would give it A minus.
I personally would give it a B
Mm-hmm.
because of what you just said. I'm gonna try to grade this close to at that time when it
Right.
comes to cast, because we know obviously Toby is big. We know Willem Dafoe is big. We know James Franco he was still like, I feel like he was big at that time, but now he got even bigger. Kirsten Dunst. Like I feel like all these people were kind of okay then, but they got bigger over time. Tobey was still the newcomer, and he obviously made this movie his own. What you think about plot?
Plot. I I would definitely give this an A. To me, it starts with the whole great power becomes great responsibility. The story of Uncle Ben. There's some things to be desired in the relationship, I think, with him and Mary Jane, but I like everything with him and Green Goblin and how they explore them finding out about each other, and then also they're fighting throughout the movie. They fight a lot in this movie. I would give that an A for sure.
Okay, I give it an A too. We're going there. What
Mhm.
about production? For me myself, I would give this production grade because you need the CGI, you need the web slinging, you need the stuff like that, and for it to be 2002, I think it looks fairly well. I'm gonna give it a B.
Yeah, I'll give it a B plus. I mean, there was I think there's just looking back, you could just tell kind of it's 2002 in some spots, some areas, which is, I mean, it is what it is. It is when it came out. So, but overall, I think most of the things really, lasted and still look good to this day. And then, like you said, just the whole web slinging and stuff. That part was all pretty believable and lifelike. I mean, it definitely was captivating at the time. We were like, hey, I want to, and then it kind of leads into what they did with the video game as well, because that was like a huge feature with him being able to sling,
Yes.
and it might have been why it took so long for them to make a Spider-Man movie. To be honest, like it could have been they needed to make it look more believable, and because I think it was they pulled it off pretty well. So yeah, I'll give it B plus.
Yeah. Fun fact: they had to delete a scene in Spider-Man 2 because it had a 9/11 scene in it.
Mm.
I've seen the scene. I'm like, they should have kept that in. I'll be honest with you. It's like a villain is they rob the bank and they getting away in a helicopter, and he used 9/11 to like catch them in the spider web. And he used the two buildings to catch them in the spider web in between. I'm like, even though everything at 9/11 at that time, that scene, well, it still was a dope scene in my opinion. But I understand. What about fandom? Fandom for this series, I'm giving an A plus.
Yeah, I ain't going. I mean, it's the whole reason why like we've already discussed that they brought everyone back in No Way
Yeah.
Home is because of this series, and I don't think honestly, I don't know if the MCU becomes as big as it is without the success of this series, even though it's not the Disney version.
I think it did. I think it does.
You think it does? I don't know. I mean, I just said I don't know. Because I
I
just think that Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I'll say that the Marvel Cinematic Universe became big before Spider-Man was able to rejoin it, right? So obviously, with Iron Man and Captain America, things were already going up and up on this trajectory. But I believe that Spider-Man is still the most recognizable character across the board. Or
Across
in
any Marvel is yes, is most likely Spider-Man. Yes.
Yeah, so I think just like the success of this, and then eventually, they brought it all back into the fold. I think it really set up the entire universe to become so huge because this first movie was huge, even though it wasn't technically MCU or Marvel property.
Yeah. Yeah. No, this first movie was. I think this first movie was like it was the green light of these movies can be profitable. They can be good, and then because they had other movies. They had because like Blade is a Marvel movie, but it don't really count.
Doesn't give you that feel.
Yeah.
Doesn't give you that blockbuster
Yeah.
over the I mean it was a blockbuster film, but it wasn't like
It's
a
like a dark.
national phenomenon
Yeah.
or a national treasure the way this one
It's
was.
more like a dark indie tone to it.
Right.
Oh, sorry, longevity. My bad.
Longevity, I mean, I think this it's going to keep going on and on, and then it's just going to keep going on and on forever. And then bringing a Tobey Maguire's version into No Way Home just get you right back into watching this one, and you can rewatch it and just see how it all comes into the new fold. So, shoot, I would give it. I mean, other than a few of the graphics and some of the acting, just a little bit, I would say just a little bit dated. Some of the, interactions between Mary Jane and Spider-Man, a little bit
Oh,
just
the
seemed,
interactions are horrible. I'll be honest with
yeah,
you.
yeah.
It
I would
was like,
say,
yeah,
yeah. Yeah, I would just say that really you could tell what year it was just based on their back and forth. Like, oh, this is an early 2000s film. But other than that, I would say, I would give it B plus for sure. Probably B
okay.
plus.
I would give it an A minus
Mm.
because like everybody loves Toby. It like Toby, it's Toby, it's the Toby show. Uh, so I would give it that longevity strictly for Toby. Yes, it's quotable. Yes, it's a good movie, but Toby is Spider-Man, and that's where it starts and ends. I like the other Spider-Mans, but Toby is Spider-Man, and like he's to a lot of people, he's the only Spider-Man that they will ever accept.
That's one of that's me right there. I'm rolling with Toby to the end. I like Tom Holland. Um, in the films, I just think I don't know what it is about him. I just don't like him off screen for some reason. I don't know.
Uh, Let everybody know where to find you.
Find me at leeboytv.com, at leeboytv on all socials, including YouTube. And then please also follow the Child Star Reboot. We got an Instagram page up where we got some things coming. I'm promise you we're gonna have a great announcement this year. So make sure you follow now. Get in early so you can say you was there from the beginning. And yeah, Leeboy TV.
Yeah, you follow me at KBNG Prime Time, Prime Nostalgia Pod, 80s, 90s, 2000s vibes, all that good stuff. And look, Spider-Man, Spider-Man is cool, people. Let us know down below who your favorite Spider-Man is. If it's Toby, if it's Andrew, as we
Who?
there you go, and Tom Holland. Or even if it's one of the animated, if it's Spider-Man from the
Hey,
cartoon, let us know.
Shamik. Shout out to Big Shamik. That's my guy. I love everything Shamik Moore do. So please come on the podcast so we can give you your praise that you are due, sir.
Yeah, he
We
was good
love.
at the get down too. Yeah, man. Look, thank y'all. By the way, people that voted on our Nick draft and everything, that was cool. Thank you guys for everything. Hopefully, I crush Lee Boy in these votes or whatever we got going on here.
We'll
Uh,
see.
we'll see. Yeah, but comment down below talking what y'all want us to do. You watch on YouTube. Inbox us, DM us, comment on our pictures and what y'all want us to do. Stuff y'all like to see us do because we can always use ideas. We can always use ideas. But look, from Lee Boy, from Prime, me, from all this spider webs and whatever, Prime time is all the time, and we out.
Thanks for tuning in to the Prime Nostalgia, the podcast dedicated to entertainment from childhood that's 80s, 90s, the latest 2000s. Cause Prime know it all, and Lee Boy be wild, and he's from all that. Dropping gems for you to find, so that's orange, that light is line. Prime time is all the time. We talking about the classics, and there's so many. That's Lee Boy TV and PRIME. Ow.